box every now and then. Oh, what did you get? I see you guys have your own here. I was saying you've got your own animal here to deal with. Oh, you've got sandhill crayons here. Yes. Oh, yeah, and they make this very distinctive warble up in the air. The sandhill cranes. They're down at Tallahassee. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Ellen Greenwood. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to our service here at Westside Unitarian Universalist Church this morning. I welcome you if you are here in person in our sanctuary, and I give you a warm welcome if you are with us via YouTube, either with us right now or watching at some time later. We're very glad to have each and every one of you and all of us. Westside is a congregation where what you believe, the specifics of what you believe is not nearly as important as how you live in the world and how you are open to searching for truth with all of us. We're going to be talking about having a green Christmas this morning. And it's a very serious subject, but I think we'll have some fun with it too. So we're very happy to have you here. We have announcements in our order of service, and these are also, I think, available for our screen viewers. They're on your screen. So be sure and pay attention to those. Just because we don't read each one of them to you, you are responsible. It might be on the test. But I do especially want to point out that we are having our December potluck next Sunday, December 10th, rather than on the usual third Sunday. So next Sunday will be our solstice spiral, and then it will also, we'll have our holiday party where we decorate the church for the holidays following that service, and so it only makes sense to go ahead and share some food on that day. So.
Oh, there's a sign up in the back.
And there is a sign up in the back. We're getting more organized about our potlucks these days. So yes, there is a sign up right there in the back. I would say if you don't get signed up and suddenly it's next Sunday, just come on. And if you have a chance, grab something, but come anyway. And because this December, Christmas Eve falls on Sunday, we will not have a morning service on Christmas Eve, December 24th. No morning service that Sunday. However, at 6 p.m. Christmas Eve evening, we will have a Christmas Eve candlelight service here at Westside. So please join us for that. And I believe that Reverend Carol will invite our bowl to sing and maybe have some words to say also.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. We do have a few more announcements. I want to say hello to everyone who's with us virtually. That is such a great holiday gift. It's been a wonderful thing being able to have our virtual participants. So we're happy that you're here with us. If I haven't met you yet, I am Reverend Carol Badeau. I am privileged to serve here as minister. We have some exciting things happening that I want to let you know about. So the first thing is that you all get to learn our new tagline, because the board and the marketing team and all sorts of people have been working on our new tagline. I don't know if it's on. Is it on our order of service? Yeah, okay. Look at the front. If you happen to have an order of service in your hands, under the little blue logo on the very front, you got to close it. You got to close it back up. On the very front of it, where our little blue chalice dove thing is, see how it says, "Love unites, caring connects, community thrives." That's the new tagline, everybody. So we're actually, the reason for this is to start trying to live into it. Okay, it's start to try to actually identify the ways that we can actually live into this. It's been, it's in alignment with things that the larger denomination is doing. It's changing our purposes and principles, which we're going to talk about more, especially in the coming year. And it's also a way for us to start understanding that we connect with one another, but we also are reaching out into the community. So just something to be aware of. And along with that, the other thing I want you all to know about, I'm going to tilt this up for a minute. The other thing I want you all to know about is a relatively big change that's happening in January. Starting in January, we're going to have a second service, an earlier morning service, which will be different than our regular service. So the 9:30 service will be 40 minutes long, and it's going to be spiritual practices. We've had a number of people, both people who come at 11 o'clock and also people who are in the community who want to be doing something, but this 11 o'clock service isn't quite their thing. So we're going to do a 6-month experiment. The board has approved a 6-month experiment from January through June. And it may be a small group at first, but we hope it will grow. 9:30 to about 10 after 10. It will include things like centering and meditation, using sounds like bowls and bells, chanting, drumming, a whole wide range of things. A little bit of yoga. Bridget will be back with our weekly yoga session for 15 minutes or so every week. During that, the purpose of the spiritual practices service is what we call direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder. Anybody remember the 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism? That was the 6th source. An experiential sense of connecting with something larger than ourselves. So we're going to be exploring different world traditions, different cultures, different ways of shifting from beta brain waves to alpha brain waves, coming into a more centered and spiritual framework. So if you are at all interested in that, check it out. At the present time, we do not have the resources to live stream that service, but hopefully after the 6 months, if it gets a good response, then we will try to expand that and live stream it. But at first, it's going to just be in-person experiential. That'll start, I believe that starts January 7th. January 7th. So if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to ask me. It'll be at 9:30. So, lots of stuff happening. Now, in that spirit of the spiritual practices, the little way we do this every week at Westside at our 11 o'clock service is we invite the bowl to sound. And I'm going to give you a little review session on why we invite the bowl to sound. We know from scientific studies that certain things affect our brain waves. And Our brain waves, when we're like super thinking and busy and trying to solve problems, are in a higher beta frequency. But when we meditate, or when we're very calm or very relaxed, our brain waves become wider and slower, and they sink into low beta or alpha states. There are all sorts of ways to achieve this, but one of the things we do is we invite the bowl to sound. And if you really breathe and you just listen, hopefully as the bowl sounds, you can allow its sound to help you just sink into a deeper state of relaxation. The opportunity here is to let go of what happened yesterday or even this morning, not be fretting about what's going to happen in a couple hours. Just come fully present. Breathe deeply. Notice your feet on the floor, your body in the seat. If you're fortunate enough to be at home, curled up in bed under a fuzzy blanket, present with that. Just notice that you are here and that you are breathing.
Thank you. So I have asked Yetta Jager to light our chalice and our community candles this morning. Yetta, along with Charlie Dudney, are the chairpersons of our Green Sanctuary Committee, and we're focusing on having a green holiday this morning, so I want to make sure that they are recognized and we all appreciate the work that their committee is doing. And I've chosen words for our chalice lighting written by Laura Wallace, and they come from the UUA Worship Web. As frozen earth holds the determined seed, this sacred space holds our weariness, our worry, our laughter, and our celebration. Let us bring seed and soul into the light of thought, the warmth of community, and the hope of love. Let us see together, hear together, love together. Let us worship. And we do have 2 community candles that we light these days. I think we should light one appropriately, since this is a green sort of a service today. I think we should light one definitely for our earth and for all of us, all the animals, including humans, who are trying to survive right now on the earth. I think we need to include a little bit of hope in that candle. I saw an article just recently by Greenpeace talking about how much we need to maintain hope if we are going to have what it takes to do the work that needs to be done to combat climate change. So this is for concern and hope. And I thought we should light our second candle to celebrate the life of Rosalind Carter, who died this week. And we all, at least I know I personally, have always admired her and was very impressed with all the accolades that she has been given this week and all of the great accomplishments that she managed to do in her life. And one that I did not know about and I thought fit well with our service today is there is actually something called the Rosalind Carter Monarch Butterfly Trail. And it's not a place you can go and walk, not one place. It's a trail across the country of gardens, private gardens, public gardens, school gardens, church gardens, that have been certified because they make an effort to provide habitat for butterflies, particularly monarchs. We could even be on the Rosalind Carter Monarch Butterfly Trail. So we'll light another candle for her. Thank you.
All right. In the spirit of Rosalind Carter, this is a very participatory service today. So, all the things that we can possibly do. Everybody needs to have, look around you, you should have a 12 days of eco-Christmas, 12 eco days of Christmas sheet somewhere nearby, okay? Okay, now the way this works is people who have your little, your picture handouts, who's got the picture handouts, get your picture handouts ready. If you were assigned a picture, be ready because you're going to use it for this. It has a number on the back of it. Look on the back of it, find the number. Your job, we're going to sing this, we're going to sing the whole song. We're all going to sing it. And when you know, this is participate if it's fun. If you're like, man, I don't want to do this, then just, that's all right. But if you have a picture, when your picture is called, your job is to hold it up for the world to see. Okay, so let's practice. Who's got the partridge in a prairie? Okay, you two, you're going to be holding it up a lot. The partridge in the prairie is going to get held up a lot because you got to hold it up every single time we sing the partridge in the prairie, not just the first time. Okay, so whoever's got the 12 timber rattlers, who's got the 12 timber rattlers? You only have to do it once. Okay, and you all know the tune to this, so those of you who are with us virtually, you can sing along. All right, choir, come on up, stand up. We will lead you in this because we've practiced these parts. Your job, though, is to sing with us, okay? And show the pictures, and you might want to hold the picture up and then flash it back at the camera so that the virtual people can see it, right? All right? All right, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Okay, are you ready? We ready? Ready?
Yes.
On the
First day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a prairie. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 bowhead whales and a partridge in a prairie. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me
4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 salt marsh sparrows, 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge partridge in a prairie. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 ocelots, 7 salt marsh sparrows, 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. Take a deep breath, here we go. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 alligators, 8 ocelots, 7 salt marsh sparrows, 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 Bengal tigers, 9 alligators, 8 ocelots, 7 salt marsh sparrows, 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 lady slippers, 10 Bengal tigers, 9 alligators, 8 ocelots, 7 salt marsh sparrows, 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. Last one. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 timber rattlers, 11 lady slippers, 10 Bengal tigers, 9 alligators, 8 ocelots, 7 salt marsh sparrows, 6 sandhill cranes, 5 golden toads, 4 desert pupfish, 3 gray bats, 2 bowhead whales, and a partridge in a prairie. Bravo. Now, it is my understanding, and you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, the reason these creatures were chosen, are they all endangered, Yetta? Most of these are endangered species. So even though, okay, that's a tiring song to do that over and over again, right? How tiring is it to work towards environmental balance? It is work. It takes a village, a really big one. You got to take deep breaths to get through it. It takes a lot of repetition, right? And it can be fun if you have a good spirit of community about it while you're doing it, right? So thank you all for participating in that. So today we are talking about the earth, but what we are in the context of is we are heading deep into the holiday season, right? Despite the fact that it's pretty warm today, we are heading deep into the holiday season. Hanukkah starts this Thursday, December 7th, and goes through Friday, the 15th of December, and Christmas is only 22 days away, which isn't very long, okay? That's not very long. It's really usually a really busy month where we try to cram all kinds of things into the month, right? Just at the time of year when nature's kind of slowing and settling down, we tend to speed up a little bit. That's a very high intensity season. Does anybody agree with that? It can be a high intensity season. Okay, that intensity that we humans generate during this season isn't just intense for us. We also put a pretty intense impact on our natural world with all the intensity we generate during the season. But we don't think about that very much. We are impacting the world we inhabit with our holiday traditions as we drive and shop and bake and eat and make garbage and compete in neighborhood light competitions. All of our relations on the planet, the plant people, the water, the soil, all of the insects, all of the other life forms that share this planet feel the impact of our intensity at this time of year. Let's not forget also, like so there's some negative impacts, and some of those impacts come back on us, right? We can have some pretty negative impacts on ourselves with all this intensity. So we might overspend or overeat or overdo or generally behave in ways that are kind of excessive and out of balance if we're not careful. So when we talk about environmental sustainability, we have to include ourselves in the picture, right? Sustainability starts with our own bodies and our own lives. We tend also to have excessive expectations at this time of year, which for many people leads to sadness, depression. It, for many people, is a very difficult time of year because the expectations are so high. So what do we do to minimize all of the negative impacts of this intensity while still having all the beautiful benefits of the holiday season? So I would suggest one starting word: simplify. Simplify, simplify, simplify. It is really easy to forget the purpose for holy days. All right, that's what that word means. Holidays are holy days. And regardless of what spiritual or religious traditions we practice, we all need holy days. Days which are designed to focus on something bigger than the mundane, day-to-day struggles of our lives. These are times when we are asked to focus on the big things: love, generosity, hope, promise, caring for one another. They're days when we are invited to celebrate the human spirit, the possibility of the unexpected or the miraculous. Days when we connect with others more deeply and more richly. But it's easy to lose track of that. It's easy to get caught up in all the doing, all of the mechanisms of the holidays, so that we forget the meaning of the holy days, right? All those mechanisms are really just supposed to help us achieve these more meaningful goals, but sometimes the meaningfulness gets lost in translation. But simplify one or two deeply meaningful activities can be much richer than a whole slew of not so meaningful, mechanistic, busy things. So at the top of my personal green Christmas list is doing less, not more. That's a personal, eco-sustainable thing. And that same concept can apply to how we treat other creatures and the earth as well. We have a commitment here at Westside to treat the earth well, to consider in the ways we live and do things our impact on the natural world. So here are today some opportunities or ways to think about how we might make our celebrations of the holidays a little bit greener. And I'm going to invite those of you who are with us virtually to be thinking about, you can email me right now at revcarol@westsideuuc.org. You can email me, and we'll also have our chat up. We'll have our chat on our YouTube up if you want to contribute suggestions. After I give you some ideas, then we're going to share ideas. Other things that that I don't mention, that you all might have, suggestions you all might have for greening the holiday. So let's start with decorations. And let's start with the biggest debate every year for people who celebrate Christmas. Which is more sustainable, a live tree or an artificial one? Thank you it was Yetta who sent the post, I think, to me about a fairly definitive answer to this question. How many people are voting for artificial? How many people are voting for live? The live tree people win. The answer, according to experts, is that live trees are better for the earth than artificial ones. Because the reusing actually doesn't compensate for the environmental damage done by making an artificial tree. Even if the artificial ones get reused, the making of them does so much harm that it outweighs the benefits. According to Rosa Rivera, who is the philanthropy officer for One Tree Planted, which is a group that, plants trees to offset carbon emissions, the production of one artificial Christmas tree results in about 88 pounds of carbon dioxide, which is 10 times higher than the production and collecting of any sustainably grown real tree. And the other thing about real trees is they create ecosystems. So farms that create trees, that have trees, they create ecosystems that harbor other life forms, that draw carbon dioxide out of the air, and that can, if it's done sustainably, actually restore soil health and restore the actual soil where they're grown. So they are creating habitat. And if they're harvested correctly, that habitat is maintained. So there are differences in how they're grown and harvested, but according to the experts this year, the live tree is a better bet for the sustainability. Also, another thing to think about that is, think about the amount of farmland that's been being converted to shopping centers and malls and parking lots and warehouses. Tree farms maintain family farmland, where family farmland is maintained for people to actually be able to farm. So you might shop live and local for a tree this year if you're able to do that. Okay, other decorations. We need to avoid those shiny small metal things that only get used for a few days each year, like tinsel. I know most of us have pretty much let go of tinsel as a concept, but it's really not good for the earth. Wherever we can, and we're going to be doing this next week. We've been having a lengthy conversation on the aesthetics committee about how to have an environmentally friendly decorated West Side this year. Ideas like use natural materials, use pine cones that you collect, not the ones that are chemically infused with chemical artificial scent, because the production of those scents isn't exactly good for the earth. Collect evergreens from your own habitat or purchase from local growers. Do things that are friendly to the earth. You might sometimes people will take pine cones and put peanut butter and seeds in them to share with the animals outside. Now, some of you might remember that when we do our solstice spiral here, we will, and this will be next week, we lay down a huge canvas and we put greens on it, and then we walk a little labyrinth for the holidays. And we used to use live greens for our solstice spiral, which seemed really environmentally friendly. But here's what we realized when we did that. So one year we did the live greens, and I thought, this is awesome, I'll just take them back to the farm. And it took me 5 hours to get all of the florist tape and florist wire out of those greens, which was not environmentally friendly. We do not have a good solution to this yet. We have artificial greens that we're going to use for that, but if you have any ideas for how we can do our solstice spiral in a way that's truly environmentally supportive of the earth, we want to hear it. Okay, outdoor decorations. Anybody ever considered the impact of all those outdoor lights on wildlife? It's not good. It's really bad. They look pretty to human eyes, but they are terrible for birds especially, and other animals whose bodies and lifeways are regulated by darkness and sunlight. Right? So in fact, actually all of us are negatively impacted by light pollution. So they actually impact us too, but at least we have a say in the matter. We have a choice. Although I will say that if you live in a neighborhood where you want to be able to sleep at night and somebody next door, how many bad movies have been made about this topic? The neighbor who has the crazy light display that makes you crazy and you can't get away from it. Right? That's a thing. Outdoor lights can disrupt migratory patterns in bird species. They can cause disruption and confusion in wildlife eating, breeding patterns. They can alter the balance of predator-prey relationships. If you think about predator-prey relationships, even in town, right? There are predator animals and prey animals whose lives are dependent on natural cycles of darkness and light. So those are things that we need to think about, okay? we had an excellent suggestion from Carol Thomas on this topic, which is to consider learning about and participating in the Dark Skies initiatives that are happening all around the world. These are initiatives where communities, individuals and communities commit to helping restore areas where there is not massive light pollution, so that migratory birds have natural light patterns that they can follow, and so that we can reduce light pollution in our communities, which is detrimental to the natural world and to us. Now, recently, the safety team, we've been talking about safety in our building, and this area out behind our building on this side is very dark. And we thought, well, how do we balance safety with being environmentally friendly? And the decision was to put in motion-sensitive lights rather than the ones that are just like bright all the time. So that if there's an issue out there, it will light up, but it will not constantly be a bright light disrupting whatever animals or creatures, and we do have a lot of them here, right? We have deer and a number of different bird species, and I've even seen fox on our property before. So we have animals that live here. So we made that decision. So if you flip over your lyrics for your 12 Days of Christmas, that little piece of paper, you will see that there's a list of resources. There's a list of resources. So you can see there's a couple links that I've listed on there for Dark Skies initiatives. We might consider Westside, that's something Westside might consider thinking more about, getting involved in, what we could do about that. All right, that's all decorations. On to gifts. I think we all know that buying local, sustainably produced, earth-friendly gifts is a good idea, right? But often they are really pricey and really hard to come by, right? They're harder to come by and they often cost more. It is really easy in our culture to go to a big box store and buy stuff that isn't good for the earth, right? What alternatives do we have? In fact, our society makes it actually really hard to do not that, right? Our society makes it really easy to do the wrong thing and really hard to do the right thing sometimes. So what are our options? Some suggestions that have come in the last week or so: give gifts that are activities. So memberships, for example, that support earth-friendly organizations like IAMS, or the zoo, or some other organization, right? You can give a membership. You can give, an event where you go visit one of these places or do something environmentally friendly together. Another option, give virtual rather than plastic gift cards. You can give things that there's no plastic that was produced to give that gift, right? You can make things at home. Nice homemade gifts are actually really awesome. We don't have to have the fancy schmancy stuff from the stores. Offer services and time rather than stuff. Actually, one of the interesting gifts that the Unitarian Universalist Association has never done this before. This is fascinating. They are also trying to get green too. They are offering this year as a Christmas gift. So every year the Unitarian Universalist Association has a General Assembly. It used to be in the past that it was always a big gathering. Everybody would fly in from someplace and stay in hotels and use a lot of environmentally non-friendly, food stuff, and it wasn't very friendly. So the UUA has switched to having in-person General Assemblies only every other year and having the alternate years be virtual. So this coming year will be the first virtual-only General Assembly, not because of COVID, but just because we think it's a good idea. And for Christmas and the holidays this year, they are offering gift certificates to attend General Assembly. So you can actually give someone the gift of saying, we think you ought to go to General Assembly next year, or we know you go to General Assembly, or you might be interested in going to General Assembly. You can go online and buy someone the gift of General Assembly. Which, maybe that's a gift that not most people on your list are going to want, but it's actually a really cool way that the denomination is taking action. Okay, what about food? Anybody ever wasted any food at the holiday season? We waste a lot of food at the holiday season, right? And we use a lot of resources making a lot of food. So how How do we think about food use during the holiday season? Perhaps this year you might think about purchasing food at your local farmer's market, where they also sell some awesome handmade gifts, by the way. And a really important one for any holiday, chocolate. Does anybody eat more chocolate at the holidays than the rest of the year? Anybody doing that? Okay. A lot of chocolate is produced not only in environmentally awful ways, but using slave labor. Matter of fact, a huge percentage of the chocolate that's on our market, the cheap chocolate is cheap because it's produced using slave labor, often child slave labor, okay? So that's not good. That's not good. So you will find a link on your list of resources to a website you can go to get lists of chocolates, companies that produce chocolate that are certified slave-free, okay? So I strongly recommend that rather than just picking up whatever chocolate you think you're gonna grab off the shelf, that you think about where it came from. Because this is a huge industry, and it is a huge industry that fuels a lot of the child slave labor in our world. That's kind of a downer, isn't it? Like, that's a downer to think about that, right? But the meaning of the holy days is to connect to things that matter deeply. The richness of human spirit and connection, the value of love and caring for one another, the possibility that we can make magic happen in the world. We have the ability to do that with simple choices. Being greener for the holidays is actually living the spirit of the holy day more fully. During the holidays, we can often feel overwhelmed and overloaded with things to do. And as I said before, our society, our media, and our marketing in our world is set up to make it really easy to do a lot of things that are not so good to do. So it takes energy. It takes energy and focus and commitment to make choices that are more of service to the earth and to our family members, expanded to our community family, our earth family. This is an opportunity for us to live our values a little bit more. So now we're going to take some time to function as a community and take some suggestions and hear a little bit about what you think. So we're going to start with Yetta. Would you like to share a little bit about St. Nicholas? Yetta is going to share a little bit about this tradition, and then we're going to have feedback time. So if you have suggestions, be ready to share them in a minute. And if you are with us virtually, you can either email me or you can put it into the chat on our YouTube station, and we will read those out loud too.
So my parents are Dutch, and I'm a first generation, I guess. I was also born there, but they immigrated here, and we celebrated St. Nicholas, and I think other people, we have a Dutch club here, and Annette Catlin is another Dutch friend, and one of the things I've appreciated about St. Nicholas Day that I think we could do for Christmas as well is that the gifts were usually small. They were focused on the children, and they were often funny. There was always like a little poem that you would write to, help the person guess what the gift was or to talk about its meaning. And generally it was a less consumption-oriented holiday that was more about the creativity of coming up with a gift and writing a little poem. And I really appreciated that part of it. There was also a lot of chocolate. So.
Okay, so does anybody have any other suggestions, ideas for greening the holidays? You must. Okay, Leslie, here.
I don't know how sustainable the whole book industry is, but it has been my habit since my children were born I'm kind of the mom, the aunt, the grandma who gives books for Christmas. So I'm hoping that it's sustainable. At least it's sustaining the habit of reading anyway in my kids, so that's what I've been doing.
Jerry, did you have one?
I saw what might be an interesting alternative to having a Christmas tree, a program that showed I think it was somewhere in Scandinavia, a practice of, I think they called it twigging. I might be saying this wrong, but basically the adults and the kids went out into the woods, and instead of cutting down a whole tree, they cut like a foot or so off the lower branches of pine or spruce trees, and then went back and made wreaths out of them, and they used wreaths. Now, I don't know if they also had Christmas trees or not, but it occurred to me that if you wanted to have a natural material other than cutting down a whole tree, just harvest a little bit of a bunch of trees and make a wreath out of it and use that as your Christmas decoration.
Yeah, and we've done that. In the past, we've done that here as one of our holiday party activities, is to just make wreaths. Okay, who else has an idea? Oh, Christina.
I know one of my favorite gifts, and my parents too, was for Christmas, I would ask for like a coupon book to be like allowed to go to like 3 big concerts or something throughout the year. And so I'd budget my time and do things around the house to earn money to go to these concerts. And like in return, I would make little coupon books that were like 20-minute back rub, or I'll wash your car, or things like that. And they always went over the best.
Awesome.
All right, so I have a few. I'm not advocating online shopping, even though I do it on a very regular basis. But if you do, there's most major online shopping retailers offer an option to basically delay some of your orders so you get it all together. And so it uses less packaging, less trips to the door. That means less mileage on those trucks coming through. So, let's do better, not perfect. And so, yeah, I think that's a big one. Another thing, holiday cards, I love receiving them, but then what do I do with them afterwards? So then I do recommend, if you want to do holiday cards, you can do virtual, or if you want to print them, make sure you use recycled stock, or you can go and you can make something that's compostable as opposed to that picture stock that's basically has to be trashed. And then the last thing I have is that make going outdoors part of your holiday traditions. We actually do it on New Year's Day. The state of Tennessee, our state parks do sponsored hikes in every single state park, and it's the New Year hike, and that's something that our family really enjoys as part of our family tradition, and it's actually some of the best time of year to hike in Tennessee. So I recommend building in part of your holidays.
I love that. Better, not perfect. Because there's no way to function and do it all perfectly. So better, not perfect.
Well, I think that people flying to be with family someplace, flying always gets bad credits, and you drive in the car. So if more people just had Christmas at home where they live rather than traveling someplace, and maybe you could just substitute a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, one of the suggestions we heard was consolidate your traveling during I don't know about anybody else, but getting on the roads lately has not been fun the last week or two. It's been a thing. So how can we plan and consolidate and expend less resources, personal and material? Yep, we got one from the online.
Yeah, Curtis said that last year she gave her sister a membership in the Sierra Club, and then this year she will update the membership for her sisters.
Yep. Any other ideas? Alice.
This is not so much just a Christmas idea, but something that we might all want to do every day of every year, is give up the plastic bags and take your own cloth bags when you go shopping. And I know at this time of the year, lots of people come home with plastic bags that are full of gifts and that sort of thing. So that's a suggestion.
Yeah, and sadly, when we recycle our plastic bags, yeah, there's not so much recycling happening. Some of them don't actually get recycled.
I have two things. One is for those of us that have artificial Christmas trees already, the cost has already been paid. And so there's nothing to be gained by pitching that one out and starting right now. So when this one wears out, then go with the greener alternative. So that's a sunk cost. The other thing is my family years ago, mainly because my mother was getting so old that shopping was getting to be a chore for her. We just decided for all the adults, our Christmas present to each other would be not having to shop for each other. So.
Yep, awesome.
This is not really on target, but I want to say this anyway. I'm co-chair of the Green Sanctuary Committee. It was my job to compute the carbon footprint for the operation of this building. So what I did, Craig Brandt handed me a year's worth of utility bills. You know, oh, sorry. And so I added up how much electricity we buy in a year, how much natural gas we buy in a year, using conversion factors from TVA for electricity and EPA for methane. I calculated we produce the building, just operating in the building, 33,000 pounds of carbon dioxide from the natural gas we use to heat the building, and 13,000 pounds of carbon dioxide from the electricity we use to cool and light the building. Short response, 72% of our carbon comes from the natural gas we buy. That would be, if we could reduce our carbon footprint by replacing all our gas furnaces with heat pumps, we would probably reduce our carbon footprint by at least 35%. Thank you.
So that's the good point is that the Green Sanctuary Committee is working hard to come up with ways to make West Side as an institution greener. We're talking about how we can do things, you know, for example, Anne and Michelle, who handle coffee hour, we've got compostable plates in the bin for if you're here for potluck or coffee hour, those plates get composted, right? We're trying to come up with different ways we can do this. So there's all sorts of things we can do individually and collectively to, you know, we're not gonna fix the whole problem by ourselves, but everything we do matters. Any last suggestions before we sing our "You're Gonna Love It" closing song? Oh, we got a couple more. Yeah, hold on.
We could do like, instead of using wrapping paper, put your gift in like a cloth bag and some newspaper.
Yep, excellent. Yep. Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I find this time of the year, my mailbox is stuffed with catalogs that I never intend to buy anything out of. So I think there's a way, then there may be, I'm going to research how can you unsubscribe from these catalogs that they instantly go into recycling, but it's still a waste of resources to get them.
Which, on the subject of print paper, print books, print catalogs and things like that, if you're buying paper products, it's worth doing a little background research on the inks and dyes that are used for those particular products, because that's where a lot of the problem comes in, is in the kinds of the inks that are used can be really destructive. So, you know, there are some companies that attempt to use more sustainable, less toxic materials in their printing production. So that's worth checking into too. Okay. See, we start getting going, and we're going to have more ideas. Well, Jerry and then Charlie, one more.
Just a quickie on the wrapping paper idea. For years, since we're old-fashioned and get the new Sentinel, the Sunday newspapers have color comics. We use the comic strips for wrapping paper.
Unfortunately, I don't know the details, but my wife found a website that she uses to cancel catalogs. And since she started this about 2 years ago, the number of catalogs we get in the mail has dropped dramatically.
Yep, and then, oh, yeah, Barry's got another one.
This one is related to that. Whenever I make a donation to an organization, I'm deluged, whatever the word is, with dunning mail, snail mail, just continually. And so I've got to where, and I write a check and put it in an envelope, which that is using paper, but I put a note on that check saying, if you send me any solicitations before the end of next year, then I'll take you off my list. So that kind of puts them on notice. Don't keep sending me all this crap.
That's smart. That is smart. Oh, and one more plug that I will make. One more plug for a product that you might give as a holiday gift this year, because I've been making a plug for this. Our biggest paper use as human beings is toilet paper. Okay. So, the production of toilet paper, if you buy your regular brands at the grocery store, much of those are produced by destroying the boreal forests in Canada, which is also, the indigenous communities in Canada are fighting that like crazy, but they're destroying, the big companies are destroying the boreal forests in Canada, which is a big deal. Not just for the habitat, but also for the way it helps our air and keeps our ecosystem as a planet healthy. So I'm going to just make another plug for my favorite toilet paper company. You can use recycled, you can do whatever, but who gives a crap? Who Gives a Crap is a subscription, sustainably raised toilet paper. You can choose fully recycled or bamboo sustainably grown. It comes in a big cardboard box, and the paper, it's recycled paper that's used to wrap it, which also doubles as wrapping paper because they make it really pretty. It's like stripey and gold and patterny and all kinds of stuff, and with hilarious jokes on it. Actually, sometimes when the box comes to my house, it comes with the words on the side that says, "This family gives a crap." And they donate a significant proportion of their proceeds to provide sustainable toilet facilities in developing countries where they do not have good hygiene and where that's causing illness in the population. So there are other companies like that. You can give a subscription to something like that to a family member or a friend, right? These are all possible. All right, we will have more ideas. If you have more ideas, email them. Next week, we're going to be trying to do some green decorating. Okay, I'm just going to keep this microphone. Okay, so a couple of notes on other opportunities to celebrate the holiness of the holy days. You can always support West Side and the good work it does. We always have justice and generosity opportunities here. So if you happen to be with us virtually, there's a QR code. We no longer pass the plate, but if you'd like to make a financial contribution to this institution to support what we do, we welcome that. In the sanctuary, we have a box in the back of the room where you can put paper money or checks, or you can use the QR code if you want to do that. We appreciate that. A special announcement about our December 24th Christmas Eve service. On December 24th, we will, in fact, take a pass the plate donation. And here's why. Because on December 24th, every year, our donation, our collection, is used to fund the minister's discretionary fund. Okay? So this is your opportunity to contribute money which goes into a special fund that I use during the year to pay someone's rent, if they can't pay their rent, help with utility bills, provide food for a family that's struggling. It's the kinds of needs that the community might have. We've done all sorts of things with that fund before. We have paid for funerals where families couldn't pay for funerals. We've provided housing. We've done all kinds of things. So on that day, we're actually going to take an actual donation because it tends to be a little bit easier for people to remember to do it. And that day, it's a once-a-year day where we try to fund that specific fund a little bit. So that's in a couple of weeks. Also, other projects that we're doing for the holidays. Family Promise is sponsoring, as usual, a number of families for the holidays. These are families that are experiencing homelessness. And so we have adopted a family where we will be providing gifts for those children. Next week, we'll be wrapping those gifts at the party. And also, for those of you who like to support the program, Samantha Monday's program for people coming out of incarceration and into sober living, coming out of incarceration, the latest rumor is that shoes are needed. So especially slip-on shoes, like the kinds of winter, those kinds of shoes that keep your feet warm in the winter. A lot of times people go into jail during the summer and come out in the winter, and they don't have warm shoes. And often, a lot of times when people go into incarceration, they might not have any shoes at all. So if you feel so inclined and you have a pair of old shoes you'd like to donate or feel like purchasing one, on your handout that I've given you, if you'll look on your resource list, even just for your own edification, there is a website you can go to for sustainably sourced shoes. Shoes also involve a lot of plastic and a lot of issues with their production. So that is something we can also collect. So we could possibly collect some shoes, yeah. Both, everything. Whatever size you've got, whatever style, gender, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What Samantha does is if she gets donations from us, for example, of things that are not necessarily the most appropriate for someone coming out of her program, to say it's too fancy or whatever, she promptly donates it to the other programs that help people get jobs and do whatever. So she will funnel those things to wherever they need to go. Also, during the holiday season, this is another big justice and generosity opportunity we always have. If you get new sweaters and you want to get rid of your old sweaters, and you take them to CARM, and you tell them at CARM, I am a member of Westside UU Church, they will mark that down, and they keep track of it, and every quarter they send us gift cards based on how much we have donated. I give those gift cards to Samantha, who then gives them to people coming out of jail into sober living, who need clothes or housing goods or whatever, right? So you donate them, someone's able to purchase them cheaply, and then also we give again when we get those gift cards. So those are all ways we can really contribute to more justice and more generosity in the world. All right, our closing song. The choir has a special piece for you for your closing song. So we invite you to enjoy this. Don't try to sing along, you won't. The words are different.
So before we close, it has come to our attention that today is Yetta Jager's birthday. And Reverend Carol and I were talking, and we realized that a couple of weeks ago was Tremaine's birthday, and we did not sing happy birthday. So before we leave, we need to sing happy birthday to Yetta and Tremaine.
And does anybody else have a birthday that just happened or that's about to happen? Everybody who's had a birthday in November, December, raise your hand or stand up.
Andy Galt, stand up.
Okay, come on. You can raise your hand. You don't have to stand. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. All right, we're going to sing happy birthday to all you all. So let's see.
To all.
We'll just say all. All right, we're going to sing happy birthday. Let's do this as our closing. We stand up. We connect with each other. It is cold and flu season. If you do not want to hold hands with anybody, hold hands with yourself. It is okay to hold hands with yourself. If you want to hold hands, feel free to do so. Feel free to do so. All right. And we're going to sing, oh my goodness. We're going to sing Happy Birthday, and then Ellen has a couple closing lines for us. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you all. Happy birthday to you, and many more. Awesome. All right, Ellen.
And just one last thought. May our holidays be wrapped in recyclable love and tied with ribbons of renewable hope.